welcome back to another episode of the Scoreboard. It's the final episode for this year, for 2019, and this is the time to close it out in the prediction game, of course. This is the final week of the regular season, and Smokey has the results of last week. And I felt like halfway through the week, I felt like I was doing really well, but then some I wasn't sure anymore. So how did it turn out?
Well, actually, I kind of felt the same way. Like, partway through it, I was like, oh, man, I'm going to close the gap here.
Huh.
And then, in the end, especially with the Vikings letting me down last night, we ended up tying for the week. So you're still 2 ahead overall.
Really?
And
Wow.
JJ had 10, by the way. So we had 12 each.
All right. So
I'm
JJ's
sorry.
still-
I'm sorry.
He's not on that level, though. He's not on that level.
Yeah.
He's
okay.
probably going to watch the Scoreboard since he's not here today, so he's probably going to watch this on YouTube. He's just not on the level yet. But that's understandable.
So harsh,
close
man.
Close though. Yeah. So how's our total records? So
Oh,
far?
153.5 for me and 155.5 for you.
That's not bad. We'll have to calculate percentages at the end. But I think
How many
it's pretty good. Could have gone better.
How many games are in the season? 16 times 32. I suck at math.
Like what? 256 or something along those lines.
Okay, so
Did you say 16 times? Times 32? Oh yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, because
32 teams playing
because
16 games each.
yeah. No, that's 512, right? 512 total games.
Oh yeah, but you have to also do the math on. Of course, each team's not playing an individual game, so it's
exactly.
16 times
So it is
16.
So it is 256.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah.
Right.
So
Which 150 plus is pretty good score on that, I guess.
Yeah, like what are we? 2/3. You know, not bad.
Not bad. Could have been better.
Yeah, and of course we'll probably be closer to 2/3 by next week after we get this week out of the way.
Sure. So you need 2 points on me at least. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I was hoping for it not to get this close at the end of it because I had bigger leads throughout the season.
Yeah, you had 6 at one point.
I had 6 at one point, man.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible. I don't want to lose this in week 17. I really don't. But let's see what happens here. So start off with the Jets and Bills. Got the AFC East.
Yeah, and obviously the Bills are going to want to close this out. The Jets, probably want to put on a good showing for leading into next season to keep the fan base somewhat happy, I guess I could say. But all in all, this is in Buffalo, and I'm pretty sure the Bills are taking this one this week. I don't know who all is going to be sitting if they decide to sit Josh Rosen for the playoffs, but I would think not, so definitely going with the Bills at home.
If the Jets win this game, they're 7-9 on the season, which means my initial very dubious prediction of them either making the playoffs or having a winning record isn't even that far off. And I could argue that if they win this game, had Sam Darnold been healthy all season, they might have gotten to at least 8 wins. It was possible, but I wasn't even that far off. They are a somewhat quality team after all, so. I'm still losing the bet, but I feel a bit better about it. I can't pick the Jets against the Bills, though. Buffalo's been playing very well. Didn't quite beat New England. I hope they get another shot in the playoffs, but in this one, I think the Bills will close it out. I don't see them resting many players. I think they'll just keep going. They've been a very healthy team throughout the year. No reason to rest starters. They're going to be playing. They're going to be playing wild card, obviously.
Yes.
But I think they'll trot them all out there and they'll take a win. It's a divisional game, so always a bit of pride involved, and Bills take it. Packers at the Lions.
Well, see, I think in this week I'm going to go with the strategy of the teams that have completely clinched number 1 and 2 seeds are probably resting players, and the teams that are not are probably not, just to maybe edge out, a better seed. But maybe not. I don't know. It's really hard to tell, man. I hate week 17. But in this one here, you can't trust the Lions, who have lost 8 straight games in a row now. Even if the Packers were to sit Aaron Rodgers, I still think the Packers have a really good chance at winning this game if that were the case. Because,
Probably.
of course, the Lions are on David Blau, their third-string quarterback. So I take the second stringer over a third stringer if that were the case. Packers on the road.
Yeah, I was expecting you to come out here and make some upset picks because, of course, you gotta gain 2 points on me. But so far,
Yeah, but I don't want
you've been going.
to increase my loss margin either.
Well, yeah, fair enough. But you've been going with the safe route so far. Yes,
Yeah.
of course, Packers gone easy pick, I think. They've been looking really well, really good. I don't know, 12-3, chance of 13-3 convincing win against Minnesota to clinch the division. I like their chances a lot if they don't run into Seattle or San Francisco in the playoffs. I think they have a shot, which is tough, by the way. But those are mismatches, but they do have a shot. I'll take the Packers. Chargers at Chiefs.
Well, this I don't see Andy Reid sitting anyone, right? I mean, I wouldn't think. Maybe Mahomes gets a half a game off, but if that's the case, that half a game is enough to beat the Chargers right now. The Chargers are looking really bad, and it looks really terrible heading into their future for next season. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if Phillip stays or goes at this point. But anyway, I'm taking the Chiefs at home because, yeah, that's the safe thing to do.
So they say to be the best, you gotta be the best, right? By that logic, what are you if you lose to the biggest fraud in the league?
A fraud.
You are the biggest fraud in the league. Come on, Chargers. What was that? How do you lose to Oakland? That was awful.
Exactly.
At Kansas City, no chance. Easy pick. Chiefs win it. Even if Patrick Mahomes just plays one drive, that's more points than I expect the Chargers to score. No, not really. But yeah, Chiefs should not have a problem putting this away. Bears at Vikings.
Bears, man, Vikings let me down. I guess I've learned my lesson. I'm never picking against Aaron Rodgers again. Ever.
Yeah.
But,
it's a good lesson to learn.
But at least this is the Bears and not the Packers. And definitely both of these games are going to play this like it's the Super Bowl. But that being said, all around, the Vikings is a better team. And this is going to be in Minnesota. I'm going to go with the Vikings at home.
Yeah, I'm not seeing Minnesota resting any starters here. They've been sort of rusty over the last couple of weeks, but inconsistent. And for them, they have to use this as an opportunity to get back into rhythm against an opponent that they outmatch. I think they're going to win against the Bears. I think they're a better team. I think Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback. And just all around better support. And they're not going to rest people. They're going to start everybody, and they're going to use this as an opportunity to get ready for their wildcard game, which is going to be inevitably a pretty tough one would assume.
Yeah.
So I'll take the Vikings. Browns at Bengals.
Well, this I haven't looked at any Vegas lines or anything, but this may be an upset. What I'm about to do, and it's because both of these teams have nothing to play for. One's a dumpster fire and one's a raging dumpster fire. But
I assume you're not going to quantify which is which.
No,
leave that to the imagination.
I think everyone. I can leave it up to everyone to pick who is which, and I don't think it matters which one you pick.
That's fair.
But I'll give you this. I'm gonna do your old thing and go. Who's the best quarterback? Quarterback versus quarterback. If you got two terrible teams, who's the better quarterback?
Ugh.
Right now, I might say Andy Dalton is the better quarterback, and I'm gonna pick the Bengals at home.
I mean, he looked like over the last couple of weeks he definitely played better, and while the overall talent is not even close to comparable, the Bengals definitely have played with more integrity and more discipline as a team. The Browns are falling apart, worse and worse and worse. I think a lot of names are going to fall off that team. A lot of changes going to happen in the offseason. I think the Bengals locked up the first overall pick, so I doubt they'll care much about anything anymore, anything but the actual rivalry, this being a rivalry game. That being said, the time to play for your job, if you're with the Bengals or the Browns, is pretty much over. I don't see any motivation in either of those teams, so I'll just pick the more talented team, which is, I think, more likely to win. I'll take the Browns. Even though my strategy would call for making the exact same picks as you, of course, to win the prediction. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna pick the Bengals. I think the Browns are a better team, and it's gonna be a really bad game. No one should watch this. I would recommend no one to watch this game. It's gonna be awful. But the Browns are gonna probably win a close one, or it might be a blowout. I don't know. It could go either way. I think they'll find a way to do it though, and but we'll see a very new iteration of both teams next year. Falcons and the Bucs.
Wow, this should be a good game, to tell you the truth. Not what anyone would have thought about 8-9 games ago, but this should be a really good game. This may actually be a shootout. And Bucs coming off a loss, Falcons coming off yet another win somehow. And dude, I told you guys the Jags were terrible, but you didn't want to believe me.
Yes.
I'm gonna take the Falcons on the road, but I could see this. I could see them hitting the over. Whatever Vegas has it set at, I could see this thing hitting the over. I actually see both teams throwing for multiple touchdowns. Both quarterbacks. Jameis is still fighting for his job, if not for the playoffs. He still definitely wants to keep his job. So, those 4 interceptions, though, that was ridiculous. Yeah, going with the Falcons on the road to beat Tampa Bay. Battle for second place, by the way. Yes.
That's true. Yeah, you already said it. It is a tough game to pick. And I sort of approach it with the same strategy that I do most games. In those later weeks, especially week 17, especially for teams where it doesn't matter anymore, you generally want to pick the trend. You want to just pick the team that's played better so far. So I'm actually going to agree. I'll give it to your Falcons. They didn't have a very good season, but they have shown that they are a top-tier team talent-wise in the NFL if they decide to show up. They've beaten great competition occasionally, and they've completely screwed it up against sort of bad competition. And Jameis Winston is, of course, the definition of inconsistency, so we don't know if this is good or bad competition. As far as I'm aware, Jameis Winston is supposed to return next year for the Bucs. And that's, as we know, of course, it would be fitting if the Bucs win it because it's 8-8. If they were to win, they would be 8-8, which is perfect. For someone like Jameis Winston, just sums it up perfectly. But I think the Falcons can do it. I think they've somehow started to spike. They've hit that high of being able to use that talent and play up to their strengths. A bit too late to make anything out of it, but I think they're looking to close the season in a good way to not be completely looked over going into next year, saying we're still here, we still have the talent. So I think they'll make an example out of this and they'll win at Tampa. Dolphins at Patriots.
Well, I want to say this is the one that the Dolphins get over on the Patriots, like they do every year. They usually do that at home, and they completely blew the game at home this season. But with that being said, how much does Belichick play these guys? Edelman's banged up. You think? Edelman's banged up.
I think so.
Brady's old, very old. Yeah, but Belichick, yeah, you're right. I mean, Belichick's not the type of guy to say, yeah, I'm gonna look after my players. Belichick looks after.
He's not. He might look after his players if it's 48-3 in the third quarter.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But if it's tight at halftime, you best believe everyone's starting.
You know,
because he's not losing a game.
Well, yeah, and much like the Falcons, the Dolphins are actually peaking right now for their season. And Fitzpatrick wants another job next season. Not necessarily on the Dolphins, but he'll probably be somewhere next season.
Some team he hasn't played for yet.
Exactly.
Did you know that he once threw a touchdown pass to Terrell Owens?
Oh, wow, really?
Some interesting perspective he did. They played together on the Buffalo Bills in like the early 2000s.
Yeah, that makes sense. He's been around quite a while. Him and Josh McCown, man. We didn't see much of Josh McCown this year.
No, we didn't.
I would like to have seen more of him. But, I think this may be a closer game than anyone thinks, and the Pats may stay on the field longer than you would expect. At least the starters, that is. I'm going to go with the Pats at home to take the second one on the Dolphins, but I would not be surprised if the Dolphins actually figure out a way to beat the Pats.
Yeah, I wouldn't be hugely surprised, and if they actually do it, I'm gonna be extremely mad about not picking them, because that's a great pick to make if it happens, but only if it does. If it doesn't, you look foolish. So
yes.
I can't justify picking them. I'd like to see it though. Definitely would be fun. But no, the Patriots are gonna take this game seriously. That's their mentality. They're not gonna slack off no matter who it is, and they're gonna make sure they win this game. I don't think they'll have to score more than 10 points to do it either, honestly. So yeah, I'll take New England. I think they're not taking breaks. They're not that type of team. They're not taking breaks.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to make sure to win this game at home, specifically going into the playoffs, which they're going to be challenged more so than in years prior. So they might want to actually get that extra motivational boost, get that record to 13-3, and go into the playoffs with a good feeling, not coming off of a loss at home, back-to-back losses at home. By the way, they got beat by Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
In New England 2 weeks ago, which is not something that happens a lot, and it's not going to happen against Miami. Saints at Panthers.
Well, how do you feel about Will Grier right now?
How about a competent team around him? I mean, he didn't look good. Okay, he did. Of course, he didn't look good. He didn't look good at all. But that was one game. That was one game.
I look at it as there's a reason why they didn't start him over Kyle Allen, right? Even when Kyle Allen was falling and just turned into trash halfway through the season, they kept Will on the bench, and now, I mean, I think the only reason they decided to bring him out now is just to see if he was going to perform any different in a game than he had been on the practice field. And from what we've seen, man, if you're in fantasy, I'd play the defense against I play the Saints defense all day against this team, because the Colts had 30 fantasy points against the Panthers, and it was due to a very young, inexperienced quarterback who loved throwing pick sixes, apparently. Man, I'm gonna give it to the Saints, because even if Drew Brees doesn't play, Teddy Bridgewater's going to destroy the Panthers.
Yeah, the Panthers fell off halfway through the season somehow, and their quarterback controversy is not real. It kind of was a story of sort of highs and lows for them this year. Like at the beginning, Cam Newton got hurt like week 2, and everyone was like, "Oh, their season's over. They're terrible now. The best player is gone." And then Kyle Allen balls and wins 4 games in a row, and everyone's like, "Wow, they found their replacement. Cam Newton's out the building," and they're going to the playoffs and everything. And then Kyle Allen stops performing. And it's sort of a mess. And they got the quarterback carousel going on. They will have throughout the offseason. Are they into draft a quarterback? I'm not sure. But it's definitely not a good situation you want to be in. Now, Will Grier, he's played 1 game. He's a rookie. His first NFL start. Doesn't tell you much about anything. But you're not necessarily the most confident taking this quarterback room right now into next season, looking at the division that you're competing in with the aspiration of making the playoffs. In this case, yeah, I think another easy pick. I'll take the Saints. Definitely the much, much better team. And you said it. If Breeze doesn't play, Bridgewater will do it. If Bridgewater doesn't play, Taysom Hill will do it. And if Taysom Hill doesn't play, they'll get someone from the stands. Yeah. Honestly. And they'll just hand the ball off. It should be an easy win at Carolina. Mm-hmm. And beat the Panthers. Should be an easy win. And we got another team moving to 13-3 on the season. Mm-hmm. Steelers at the Ravens.
Well, man, I'd be really interested to see how Vegas has this right here, because the Ravens, of course, the most dominant team in football right now, with the best quarterback in football right now. Our Lord and Savior Patrick Mahomes may not agree, but here's the thing: he's not playing this game. It's a definite. Harbaugh has already said he's not playing this game. Steelers, well, Duck Hodges is not very competent. But I think they're going to sit a lot of their players. They're going to sit Mark Andrews. They're going to sit Mark Ingram, of course. He has an injury now. So they're going to trot out their RG3, which we don't know may be able to do this. But since I really need to pick something that you're not going to pick, I'm going to go with the Steelers on the road because I think they could possibly pull this out.
How do you know I'm not going to pick the Steelers?
Just guessing.
I too am aware that the Ravens are sitting everybody, and I'm also aware of how important Lamar Jackson is for that offense. Before I say though, isn't it interesting the parallels between what I just said about the Panthers and then the Steelers with the established franchise quarterback going down halfway through, and then the young guys come in and they just kind of start one-upping each other how much picks they can throw.
Yes.
And they got the quarterback carousel going. Exact same situation going into next year, as far as I'm aware. I don't even know who's going to start this game, honestly. I haven't gotten information on that yet. Hodges started the last game and he came out. They put Mason Rudolph back in, and Devin Hodges came back in because Mason Rudolph got hurt. So we have no clue what's going to happen. I have no clue what's going to happen in this game. But having heard the amount of players that the Ravens are going to sit, I think the Steelers have a shot in this one because they have been playing well. And they have a very good defense. Believe it or not, I think Lamar Jackson would have beat this defense. I think he easily could have beat this defense.
Oh, of course.
But the last time I saw RG3 playing a regular season game, I don't even remember when that happened. And then Martinez not playing, Marshall Young that won't be playing. That run game goes from 100 to 0. And RG3 is obviously a competent runner, but it's not the same at all. You have the same blocking power, to have the same danger in the option game and the zone read. So I actually agree with that. I was thinking you would pick the Ravens and I could make the upset picker, but no, I'll take the Steelers. Honestly, I don't really care who the quarterback is. I think the Steelers are going to win this game on defense. It's going to be a close one because the Ravens also have a prolific defense. I could see this being like a 17-14 sort of situation, but I think it'll go Pittsburgh's way. And I think Mike Tomlin is making the case for Coach of the Year here, by the way, working with what he's been working with since Ben went down, without AB, without Le'Veon Bell. They turned it around big time after an 0-3 start, and we were writing him off. So
true.
Promising end of the season, but the quarterback situation still to be figured out. How about the Eagles, the victorious Eagles? I told you
the Eagles were gonna do it.
I'm so glad you did, and I'm so glad you were right. Like I'm never so happy. I have never been so happy to eat my words, honestly. Like everything I said about the Cowboys last week, forget it. I didn't mean it.
Look, I'll tell you something though. Daniel Jones came back and he looked amazing out there. Like, as a fantasy player, I'm going to draft that kid next year. He's going to be the new Lamar Jackson for me next season.
He's good. He's really good.
You know, Lamar's probably going in the first round now, so I'm definitely not drafting him next season. I think Daniel Jones is going to be the sneaky pick. If you play fantasy, get on that one. But as for this game, the Eagles are still fighting to win this division. And they have a legitimate shot now. And this is going to be a close one. That division that no one wants to win is going to be extremely close. And these two games are going to solidify the winner and the loser. This could be a shootout. I think this will be a shootout. I think they have no choice but for this to be a shootout. Lots of points scored. Both these teams you can throw to the wide receiver all day on. They do not get covered. I'm going to put it in the hands of the better quarterback and say that Carson Wentz takes this to wrap up that division on the road.
With all that hype, Daniel Jones you were talking there, I was afraid for a second you would say, I'll give it to the better quarterback and then pick the Giants. That would have led to a discussion here. No,
Carson Wentz is great. It doesn't matter what his season was like this season.
Carson Wentz has been throwing to 3 hot dog guys for over half the season.
Exactly.
And he's demonstrated last week that he is clearly the best quarterback in this division, probably top 5 quarterback in the NFL, still to this day. Daniel Jones is really, really good. I like Daniel Jones. A reality in which the Eagles lose this game somehow and the Cowboys make the playoffs is not a reality I want to occur, not even one that I want to imagine. So I don't have any choice but to pick the Eagles to win this game because that is the only timeline I wish to exist in. So Eagles take it at New York. I think they are the pivot game against the Cowboys had to have been it. That we really can't have a double swerve here. They can't go back on that. It can't happen. You can't lose to the Giants now and have Dallas actually make it. That would be too much. So should win at New York and make the playoffs. Dallas goodbye, and I'm glad about it. But the Cowboys are going to win their game, so the Eagles need to stay focused and make this happen. It might be a close one. It might be a shootout, but I think they'll actually. I think they'll run over them. Honestly, I think they're going to flash some of their greatness. They're going to come in there very motivated, make sure to lock it up, and they're going to put on at least 30 points on a meh Giants defense, and make sure that they go to the playoffs, get beat up in the wild card round,
of course,
or the division round rather.
Yes.
So which is fine, but that's what I'm going with. Go with the Eagles. Titans and Texans.
Man, I'm so torn because I don't know. Deshaun Watson is banged up from that last game. I think they have their foot in the playoffs for sure, right? I mean, there's no way they can get knocked out of the playoffs at this point. So why would they not rest Deshaun Watson, who happens to be, I don't know if you know this, he's a really great quarterback. Yes.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's been kind of he's been going down a bit over the last couple of weeks, but he's had a solid season, I want to say. Yeah.
I would say elite, but
yeah, maybe
opinions.
Like sort of like how like Lamar Jackson is also elite.
He is very much elite
in a similar vein, like the whole like tier 2 sort of.
Yeah, and that guy Patty, you know him. He's okay.
Yeah, he's a different animal. I mean, he's
kind of
elite
two.
is sort of you can't really call him elite. Like that would be an insult to Mahomes in a way if you're calling these other guys elite.
I was gonna say you can't really call him elite because he's kind of a step below Lamar and Deshaun.
You mean he's so far ahead that he appears below, like he circled the entire ladder or something?
Yeah. We'll go with that.
That might be the case. Maybe that.
But anyway, Tannehill proved once again that him and A.J. Brown are probably the best connection in football for the second half of the season. These guys are good. Both of them, man. Tannehill is a great player. Further solidifying that Adam Gase does not know what he's doing, and I don't know why he's a coach. Man, that guy makes me mad. Like, why is he still employed in the NFL? Why?
Why does he have to waste quarterback potential?
Exactly.
Why can't he like coach the Redskins or something? Like
Sam
go somewhere where it doesn't matter.
Sam Darnold might be the next Patrick Mahomes for all we know, but he's playing under Adam Gase right now, so we won't know.
Yeah,
until
more like
Gase
Andrew Luck, but yes.
Well, you never know. It's Adam Gase, so
slightly different.
He could be hiding everybody's talents. He just walks into town and everybody's like, "Where did my talent go? Like, I seem to have misplaced it." But anyway.
True magician.
Yeah, Adam Gase, don't get out of the NFL. Titans. I think the Titans take this on the road because they are on fire right now, I guess you could say. I mean, they're playing really well. I'm not going to say on fire. They're playing really well, and Ryan Tannehill will have a job next season. Even if I had to take a chance on who's most likely to have a job next season, is it Jameis Winston or Ryan Tannehill? I'm going with Ryan Tannehill right now. I'm going to say the Titans take this one on the road.
That's an interesting pick. Finally, you're making one of the upset picks to actually go for it. Yeah, I have the Texans. I have the Texans written down.
All right.
So you got a shot in this one. It's going to be a close one, and I can totally see this is a clever game to make the quote-unquote upset pick for sure. Yes. Because the Titans, I mean, it might be close to 50-50 with the conditions you mentioned, but I kind of have to go with a team that's been more consistent, even though Tennessee has played really, really well, of course, in the latter part of the season. I think that, I agree with the fact that Ryan Tannehill might walk out of the season with a deal and a starting job, which is exciting, by the way. I generally don't hate the Titans, and I like when they succeed, at least in reasonable capacity. So I'm happy for them. Hope that it continues that way, but I don't think they'll make it happen this time. And 8-8 is very fitting for their end of the season, though it's very possible that they could win this. How about the Raiders at the Broncos?
Oh, Raiders all day. No, I'm just kidding. The Raiders. Raiders won. They beat.
Second biggest frauds in the AFC West.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
They beat Uncle Phil, man.
I mean, they have a chance today to become only the third biggest frauds in the AFC West. That's something.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Tides are changing, man. Las Vegas, here we come. This is tough, man. It really is, because the Broncos are not good, even though they won. But they're not good. I mean, the Chiefs held them to 3 points. The Chiefs, by the way, I didn't get to this there and there. You keep talking about how bad their defense is. They've given up 6 points in the past 2 games, and like 10 points in the past 4 games, or 3 games, or whatever it is. But anyway, the Broncos did well last week. The Raiders did okay for what they are.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how good the Chiefs' defense is in the playoffs. If they bring an average defense, the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl. If they don't win the Super Bowl, then it didn't bring an at least average defense. That's basically how we're gonna find out.
Yeah, wait till they start playing really elite offenses, and maybe. All right, but as far as this game, man, I'm going to go with the better quarterback and say, no, I'm just kidding. I'm going to say Drew Lock, because he is the better quarterback.
Thank you. I was about to. I didn't want to get into that discussion again. I'm not going to repeat. I'm not going to repeat my entire phrase. The Broncos are apparently not the Chargers. I expected more of the Chargers. Raiders are frauds. They're terrible. I don't know why they're in contention for 8-8. I've said it for almost a quarter of a year now. I don't get it. I will never get it. Biggest frauds in the league. I'll take the Broncos. Drew Lock's very good. He's young. He's a rookie, obviously, but he's been showing potential. I think he can take over this game and get the win. Anything else would not be appropriate, considering the teams we're talking about. Cardinals at Rams.
Wow, this should be another good game, actually. Both these teams' offenses have been playing really well as of late. Rams just missed the playoff. No playoffs for you. Cards, definitely no playoffs for you. But Kyler Murray's trending upwards right now. This should be a shootout, and I think maybe it will be. Oh, I love divisional. Last game of the season, it's always divisional. It's great. This is a toss-up, man. 50-50. I'm gonna go with the better coach as of right now, and say Sean McVay takes one over Cliff Kingsbury.
Oh, you took the third best coach in the division over the fourth best coach. Interesting. I actually wanted to propose this bet to you because we talked about the Cardinals a lot. They've been subject to a bet already. But you like to mention Kyler Murray there, so I proposed to you this bet. Kyler Murray's second season, his sophomore season next year, will be worse than his rookie season. That is my bet.
Ooh, if it was a running back, I'd take you up on that instantly because... I'm sorry, I would not take you up on that instantly. Because running backs always have bad sophomore seasons. You know what? I'll take you on that bet because I think he does do better in his second season.
You gotta put like 3 cans. Is that fair?
Yeah, because I'm trying to think how... Yeah, let's do that. Because I'm trying to think how often do running quarterbacks have a bad second season. They usually progress into their second season.
Everyone does. Except for Lamar, but he didn't really have a first season.
You think everyone has a worse second
Colin
season?
Kaepernick. Yes, like you get the occasional unicorn Russell Wilson, but then you get your RG3s, you get your Colin Kaepernicks. Yeah. You get the couple breakouts.
Carson Wentz.
And also
Carson Wentz had a much better second season.
Oklahoma. Colin Murray's from Oklahoma. He's in the most unstable system in the league, which was the Browns last year. Baker Mayfield's coincidentally in the exact same situation. I could have made this bet about Baker Mayfield last year. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he had a worse second season. He's not a running quarterback.
You would have taken me up on that bet. So no, he's not a running quarterback, but he's from the same college system in an unstable system in the NFL. And Kyler Murray is a much tougher division, even compared to that. I'm fairly confident. This is just it's just shaping up to be that exact thing. It's just I've seen this so many times, like this exact same thing basically, that I'm fairly confident in saying unless he turns out to be one of those unicorns, his next season will be worse than this one. And I'm sorry to not have much belief in him, but that's been the case ever since he was in college, and I looked at him before the draft. This might have been, I believe this was his best season he'll ever play in the NFL. His rookie season was. Same for Baker Mayfield, by the way. That's why I'll take that back. But let's put three cans on it.
Yeah, I can believe that with Baker. But I think the Cards are better next season than they are this season.
Baker is a more talented quarterback than Kyler Murray.
You think?
Yes. Baker is better than Kyler, for sure.
Oh, I don't know, man.
Baker can be good. Not great, not elite. Baker can be a good quarterback on 20 NFL teams right now.
I tell you what, man. I'm going to draft Kyler Murray next season.
Oh, boy.
I am. I'm going to take that chance. I mean, I wouldn't put him over Daniel Jones, but I'm going to take that chance on him next season because
a lot of people I wouldn't put him over. Stay away from those Oklahoma.
I mean, there's definitely people I wouldn't put him over.
You could draft like Baker, you could draft him, and like Jalen Hurts. You could draft them all.
Nah.
Because Jalen Hurts might have a really good year next year. Like Jalen Hurts might be really good next year because he'll be a rookie. Like he'll be drafted by someone like Jacksonville or something, or like I don't know, and he'll have like a really good year. He'll run for a lot of yards, and then he'll have 60 good games, go like 9-7, and then they'll figure him out, and he'll be terrible every time after that.
Yeah. I mean that's true. He probably will run, but I don't know, dude. The defenses are gonna have to come around sooner or later. Like every running quarterback can't just get one over on everyone for a year or two.
They always do. They do for a year, for a while. And then they start being figured out. And when they start being figured out, they start being exposed because they're running quarterbacks, not quarterbacks who can run. And that fate is going to hit Kyler Murray, I believe. So we'll take that bet. Odds. I'll just set the odds at 1-1. Remind me after the recording to write that down.
All right.
And we'll put 3 cans on it.
We'll take that.
I think that's a good bet.
Who do you have for this
game? As for the game, I'll take the Rams. I can't really make this whole thing give the whole speech I just did and then pick the Cardinals to win it. Though it is going to be a close game. The Rams now, without any playoff hopes, don't have that much to fight for anymore after a gut-wrenching loss. And the Cardinals have been trending up, though. It's one of those games where it's just going to be a deflated atmosphere in a fair weather town. No one really cares that much outside of the fact that it is a divisional matchup, and I think it'll be a low scoring thing. There might be the occasional spectacular play from people like Kyler, but nothing too crazy, and the Rams are going to win a close one. Colts and Jaguars.
Well, here's what's going to happen here. The Colts are going to join that ever-growing 8-8 group. And our bet's going to be worthless at that point, but I would rather that than lose the bet. So the Colts are going to get one over on the Jags here. The Jags are hot garbage right now. They're not only a dumpster fire right now. They are a dumpster fire that rolled off a cliff into this lake of gasoline.
Like in this much bigger dumpster. And then that much bigger dumpster also caught on fire from the original.
Yes, it exploded. Man, I wanted Minshew to be great. He's definitely not winning Rookie of the Year now.
He's a rookie. He got benched. Give him time. 2 more years.
Yeah, he might be great, but he's not winning Rookie of the Year. No. He might be, man. Maybe if they beef up that O-line, get him some... I mean, people love to say that DJ Chark is an elite receiver, but I'm not sure of that yet.
Yeah, I want to wait that. I want to wait with that another year too.
Yeah,
at least.
Exactly. Tell you this though, Colts take this one on the road, and they have a new quarterback next season. If not, for Andrew Luck.
No, is that a bet? Are you proposing a bet?
No, I can't bet that. But I think it's a possibility.
Come back at me if you want to make that a bet ever. I'll be glad to take that. At some good conditions.
Hey, if it starts trending more in his direction, I'll take it. I'll take Luck over Gronk right now.
Yeah, I'll give like both of them less than 5% chance. Honestly, though. would you have would you have taken Luck over like Marshawn Lynch a week ago? Be honest.
Oh, probably so. Yeah.
But you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
You never do know. Yeah, unfortunately for my bet, the Jaguars are terrible. I was actually looking forward to winning the Colts bet after they went 5-2 to start the season, and it looked like I was clearly losing. Now it seems like they're going to save 8-8, which is unfortunate. But you're completely right. Yeah, they should win this game. Jaguars have been looking terrible. I'm praying that for the fact that Minshew could pull one out and give me this win, because I really wanted to. Because I want to make a point of how important Andrew Luck was for that franchise. Of course, that's why I took the bet originally. But I can't pick him against this Jaguars team. Other Jaguars teams, like a couple weeks ago, yes. Early in the season, definitely. Not this team. And finally, last game, Redskins and Cowboys.
Not quite the last game, but close.
Yes, true.
Skins and Cowboys. I think it's definite that the Cowboys win this one. And I haven't really looked at the math on it. So if the Eagles win and the Cowboys win, the Eagles lock it down though, right?
They do, yes. The Eagles, if they win, they're
because they won the head-to-head, right?
Correct. Okay. They have a better record. If the Eagles win, they are through.
Okay. Well, I think the Cowboys are going to take this one, though, because it's the Redskins and because they're in Dallas. But I would like for us to look at real quick Dwayne Haskins. Does he get better in his second season or no?
Better than what he's been his first season? Probably. But that doesn't say too much.
Yeah. Do you think he's better than
He's also not that type of quarterback. He's not a running quarterback.
No, not
he's
at all.
Not a Oklahoma type quarterback. He's a pocket passer from Ohio State.
I heard analysts in the offseason try to pass him off as a mobile quarterback, and
he ran really a 5+ 40.
Exactly. There's tight ends outrunning him.
There are plenty of offensive linemen outrunning him.
Yeah, exactly.
And almost every D lineman. He's not a mobile quarterback. That's
like Mitchell Trubisky is faster than him.
Yes, most quarterbacks are faster than him. I don't know what take that was, but it wasn't well thought through. Your skin color doesn't determine the mobility of you as a quarterback.
Yeah,
so,
I think
Dwayne Haskins.
I think that was probably the basis.
Yeah,
of
that's usually how it works, unfortunately. But no, he definitely is not a mobile quarterback. I think he'll be better next year than he was this year. I don't think he'll be really good because he has one of the longer learning curves, I believe. He'll have to use the full 3 years, I believe, to really fit into that role. Maybe his entire rookie deal, like sort of a Jameis Winston sort of candidate. And the hopes obviously are that after a while, 3-4 years, which is what it's going to take for him, he'll sort of catch on and fulfill his potential, which is huge. But there's a big risk and a big learning curve connected to that. So yeah, about the game, I'll take Dallas. They're the better team. I think they should be winning this. I'm glad they lost to the Eagles. I don't care about this game at all. As long as the Eagles win at New York, I don't care what happens here. Then the Cowboys win it. I wouldn't hate if the Redskins did, just for the sake of the Cowboys losing more. That's always a pleasant thing, obviously. And by the way, the reason I said last game is, of course, because my order is a little bit messed up, because obviously Niners game is the last game, but that's actually on the top of my list. It's at the bottom of the list because I set them as my favorite team, so it's highlighted. And I try to still keep them in order. So
before we move on to that game, I would like to point out that Case Keenum will be starting this game, from what I understand.
Oh, he will. All right, fair enough.
Dwayne Haskins.
That doesn't change it. That doesn't really change it.
No, not at all. But if you are playing in Week 17 fantasy, Terry McLaurin is a good get right now. If you can,
yeah, maybe that is true. I personally am not, but I know you are.
Oh yeah, I hate Week 17.
Yeah, for fantasy, I hate it for fantasy especially because you just
garbage.
don't know, because so much stuff doesn't matter, and I very much disagree with with the fantasy playoffs going into week 17.
I do too, but hey, I'm the fantasy football god, so I'll pull it out.
The guy who forgot to take DJ Moore. The guy who forgot to take DJ Moore out of his lineup. The fantasy football god.
I won that league by like almost 80 points.
Godlike. All right. That's good.
Just because I forgot to take him out of my lineup doesn't mean that I didn't have that league on lock. I mean,
okay.
That's my OG home league anyway. So,
fair enough.
Not that anyone on this program wants to hear about fantasy, but I dominate.
When we get into draft season again next year, then we want to hear about fantasy. Leading up to preseason, everything post draft. That's what we will have to probably the weekly fantasy segments with Smokey again.
Yes.
But last game of the season, last game of the year, last game of the 2010s, and actually, what could be a more fitting game to close out the 2010s, if you think about it, than Niners at Seahawks?
Yeah. Wow, I didn't even put that into perspective, that this is the last game of the 2010s, last regular season game.
Yes.
And hold on, it'll be the last entirely because the playoffs don't start until after the first.
It's on the 30th. It's
wow, yeah, okay. Wow, so this should be a monumental, epic game, right?
This might be the best game of the 2010s historically, though. The best matchup.
Yeah,
so, makes sense.
Maybe so. So that makes it tough, man. How much do you think Kyle Shanahan values sitting his players, his stars?
I don't know. I don't know, which is why it's tough to pick. That's why it's tough to pick.
Mm-hmm. And we know that Pete Carroll's not going to do it because he's another one of those guys. Like he may value his players, but he's not going to give up. I mean, I've saw him have his team charge on a kneel down before.
And that Super Bowl against the Patriots like several times.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't see.
That's reason 3,579 not to like Pete Carroll.
And if they win this game, if the Seahawks win this game, they win the division because it'll be tied and.
Correct. So that's why I'm assuming the Niners are not going to rest their starters. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So this should be a really, really good game. And I am going to take the Seahawks at home.
Oh, this is a tough pick. I kind of expected you to take San Francisco because last time they played, it was obviously a close game. Mm-hmm. Not that it should have been, because that was one of the worst games the Niners played all season, but they didn't have George Kittle in that game. And it showed. It really did. Passing attack was non-existent.
Oh, yeah.
Marshawn Lynch is back for the Seahawks. And I don't know how this is going to affect the outcome or the prediction for this game. In a good way or a bad way. Because, like, common sense would tell you that he's going to be a liability more than anything else. Like, he can't just come back and be, like, the same guy, right? Like, he can't just come back and be good. Or could he?
It's Marshawn Lynch, man. Who knows? I mean...
But he's like, what? He's like 300 pounds right now, and he's old,
is he?
too.
I haven't seen any pictures of him, so I don't know. But from what I hear, he says he's in good shape.
Yeah, I mean, they say actually he's been working out sort of in secret preparation for this when the Seahawks running back started going down like flies. But I just don't think he can come off the street like that. Like he was selling hot dogs at the Raiders' final home game like 2 weeks ago on the streets, and now he's supposed to take the Seahawks into the playoffs. I don't know what to do with this. I don't know. I don't either. To
tell you the truth, I mean, I'm picking the Seahawks. Tough. Just I don't know.
It's a coin flip for me.
Yeah, it is.
Honestly, it's a coin flip for me, and what I want to do is obviously say in a coin flip I'll pick the Niners because I like it better, but trying to be logical about this, I'll take the home team. Unfortunately, I have to. I think Niners have a better chance of winning this time due to the suspicious status of Jadeveon Clowney over the last couple weeks, which has been racking the entire game. Who has wrecked the entire game last time they faced, and George Kittle is also playing, which is generally tough to deal with for any defense.
I'm going to predict that George Kittle goes ham in this game.
Like, yeah, that's not a bold prediction. Like, he does it every week.
Yeah, but especially against the Seahawks because they have the second worst tight end defense in the league.
Yes, so
next to
that's definitely is a factor. But then again, Seahawks are at home. I'm not sure if the Niners are going to rest anyone. I hope they don't, but I am also not sure. And if I pick the Niners now and they turn out to rest people starting like the second half, then of course I'm screwed. So I can't take that risk. I'll have to pick the home team. As much as I don't want it to happen, but there's a chance that these two will meet in the playoffs again, and I think it will be fitting. Mm-hmm. But that wraps it up. That wraps up Week 17. That will wrap up the regular season, and it's I want to say a rather tame week with a couple of interesting games. Mm-hmm. Like that's basically what it is.
Divisionals. All these games should be. Yeah. Excuse me. They should be decent. Because it's all divisional matchups.
I mean, they'll be entertaining by themselves, like sort of in a vacuum, but not like most of them. The implications, the games don't matter much. Most of them, some
no, they don't matter. But I think some teams are going to treat this like their Super Bowl.
Oh, for sure, absolutely, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. Before we get out of here, though, we also have college. We have college coming up. We're going down to the serious business. It's bowl game week, obviously, heading into New Year's. I will just take a look at the important ones: Peach Bowl and Fiesta Bowl. Who do you have moving on?
Well, I definitely have Oklahoma suffering a massive skull-dragging, blowout, mollywhopping. LSU is set to destroy Oklahoma. They have 8 players suspended for this game for PED violations, I believe it is. No, it's marijuana. That's what it was. But
speaking of which, how did you just brought up an interesting thing? How did Marshawn Lynch pass a drug test to make it to the NFL?
I've done. Yeah, is marijuana still in the? I know that's going to be taken off at the next CPA meeting. But probably. Yeah, right now it is still against the rules. So
yeah,
you got me. I don't know how he. Maybe.
He was warned in advance, probably. He was probably warned in advance. Like he went off for 2 weeks or something.
Maybe once the run, CJ Procise went out, and he's like, better stop smoking this.
Yeah, just in case.
Yeah. But the thing that's special that's happening, of course, Oklahoma's going to get blown out. The thing that's special is happening over on the other side here. We're going to see 2 quarterbacks go at it that have been going at it their entire football career. The first time in college, you got Justin Fields and you got Trevor Lawrence. They happen to grow up in counties right next to each other. They played each other multiple times. And these guys are once again about to go at it in college. And these are elite prospects. And I would not be surprised if we see these guys go at it in the NFL in a few years. And they may just be drawn to each other for life, for all we know. And that would be an awesome story if it is. But in that game, I really don't know what to make of it. You would look at it on paper and say that Ohio State is the more dominant team. But then you have to look at the divisions they're in. Clemson has struggled at times this season, but they finished the season very strong, blowing out their opponents. Easily won the ACC championship, whereas Oklahoma didn't easily win, but they won. I think though, man, if you're gonna, let's go with the NFL rules that you set out, Alex. Go with the better quarterback. And that still doesn't tell me which one to pick. I'm gonna go with Clemson. Yeah.
Clemson. Well, it's not always go with a better quarterback. That's one of the good indicators, and then it depends on who that quarterback is, which is always the individualist stuff is even more telling sometimes when it comes to quarterbacks, specifically in the NFL. than I think it's in college.
Yeah,
and the college rules, fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, are vastly different. No debate about the first game. I'll just take LSU. Should be a blowout, like you said. Not much disagreement to be had there. You said Ohio State is the more dominant team. I want to say paper, maybe, but they're definitely the more complete team, in my opinion. They're the more complete team. They got a great defense. They're good everywhere. They do everything well. And that's the reason why I'll pick them. Because, yes, it's fun to hang 60 on people in the regular season against, like, some terrible teams. But when it comes to the playoff in college, consistency and having every position, having every unit do at least good and not let the team down, not be your weak link, is a very important factor in college. So I'll take Ohio State, actually. But either way, it's going to be a very good championship game between LSU and someone. And in terms of quarterbacks, by the way, Trevor Lawrence is a better quarterback as of now. But I'm not actually following that advice of picking the better quarterback because I think he is surrounded by the less consistent team that lost a lot of talent to the draft last year. And it's not as good as it was in years prior. Though still valid, obviously. I'll take Ohio State. I think they have a better defense.
Oh, you know what? So, also, looking at the comparisons, Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields were ranked number 1 and number 2 in the nation coming out of high school. And really? they grew up in counties next to each other.
That's interesting. That's really cool.
Trevor Lawrence,
you get these stories.
Trevor Lawrence is still yet to lose a game.
That's true.
We don't know how he will
react.
He
will. I think he will. I think he will. He's not going to win the championship.
You don't think?
I doubt it. Yeah. He doesn't. He's really good, but I doubt it.
This is probably the best competition that Clemson has faced since he's been quarterback. If they do get past Ohio State, they still have LSU to face, and wow, it's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough. 3 really good teams in here, and then one team that squeaked in. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because no one else was eligible, I guess. Like Tua got hurt, and then Georgia lost too much, and just everything fell into place. And, there was no other way of making it, of justifying anything else, I guess. So I had to come down to what it came down to. But that's our picks. We'll see about it. Of course, college, NFL. We'll be back for the playoffs, definitely, with the scoreboard every week. We'll predict all the NFL playoff rounds, and I would assume also the national championship game as soon as we know who's going to be playing in that. But as for this week, we are done, I think. So remind me I'm gonna enter the bet. And by the way, I'll put a can on Seattle also because I haven't been doing that the last couple of weeks. So I'll do that again. And as for now, I think we're done. If you have anything to add,
that's it for this week.
All right, great. So everybody, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Deuces.